Okay, here we are. It's a minute to noon. Oh, sorry. How do I get to the speaker view? Okay. Okay, so let's get started. Today's presentation is on high performance homes or net zero homes. You might have heard the term, or passive house. So let's just dive right in. My name is Cheryl Lima, and I'm here in the East Bay, and I have over 18 years experience in the building industry and 10 years working with residential, single family residential and small multifamily projects. And about a year ago, I started working on the design of my own home, and I wanted something that was sustainably built, energy, conscious, and through my research, I discovered passive house design and building methods. So at the end of the presentation, if you want to find out even more information, there'll be a link to set up a meeting, or you could always email or give me a call. So who do I work with? I work with homeowners and builders here in the Bay Area, whether you want to remodel or add to your existing home, or build a new home from the ground up. So let's go to the next slide. So this presentation should be pretty quick, maybe 15 minutes, unless any questions come in. But I don't know if I'm even able to see. Oops. I'm not sure if I'll even see questions that come in. So if you happen to be looking at this at a later time, please feel free to send me an email or get in touch with me with any questions. So what Passive House is a measurable way to create any building actually, so that the energy demand is brought down even lower, where you don't need as many solar powered um, or mechanical mechanisms for energy. So we're just going to go over the benefits and typical or practical steps for your project. So this is kind of an overview image of what the principles are. And passive house, actually, the term passive design was a way that we've been designing buildings since, the beginning of civilization. So even before we had electricity and, all the amenities we have now, we had to create our built environments around the patterns of the sun, and deal with weather and things like that. It was more a direct correlation between how your building responds to the outside environment. But now with the invention of heaters and air conditioners, we've sort of gotten away and detached from designing in response to our environment. So what Passive House does is it allows us to each home is designed based on exactly where you are on the globe, what type of weather patterns you experience, and whether it's dry or humid air that you have to account for. And so here's a quick video that goes over Passive House principles in 90 seconds.
Passive House explained in 90 seconds. Does your house have a heater in the basement or maybe a fireplace? Probably also a central air conditioner or maybe a window unit. Did you ever wonder if it was necessary? In 1991, Dr. Wolfgang Feist built the first passive house in Germany based on research from all over the world. Here's what he did. 1. Proper insulation. It's just like wearing the right winter jacket. It also doesn't need a heater. 2. No air leakages. There should be no holes, small or large, to let warm air out of the house. 3. No thermal bridges. A thermal bridge is like a road for heating energy in which warmth can travel right through your walls. As a matter of fact, most of our houses have thermal highways in our walls where heat can easily travel to the outside. Plus, the house needs proper windows, most of the time with triple pane glass, and it needs to be oriented properly so the sun can heat it in the winter and the shade is provided in the summer. And it uses an HRV, a device that provides the inside with fresh air without letting the heat out. Add all these things up, and it turns out your house doesn't need a heater or an air conditioner. So where does the heat come from? A passive house needs 90% less energy, and that can easily be supplied by your body heat, the sun, your appliances, light bulbs, and even your TV. This saves you a lot of money on your heating bill and helps preserve the environment. Did we make that 90 seconds? That we did.
Okay, so that kind of gives you a quick overview. Now let's sort of add more layers layers to that presentation. So the first principle is super insulation. Oh, whoa, I got my little, okay. Super insulation. So if you think of a yeah, oh, yeah, in the example, the video, it talked about how insulation acts as that warm winter coat. But another way to think of it as is like a Yeti cooler that you have like at a picnic. So what the insulation does is it keeps the hot air in and the cold air out. So when you have enough insulation, in case of passive home, it would be maybe at least 5 to 10 times more than what the building code requires. So like for walls, I think right now it's R19 is required insulation, whereas passive house could range from like R45 to R60. So I mean, it's a minimal investment to create a long-term effect for the comfort of your home. And then the other principle is air tightness. So this is accomplished through sealants or tape. Usually, like there's a special film or paper that's used either on the inside or the outside of your building. So here, this person is sealing the joints where potential locations for air can leak out. So have like on a windy day, have you ever felt or heard air whistling through receptacles or even light switches? So by doing this whole airtight construction, it allows for the reduction of drafts and you reduce the heat loss. It keeps that insulation intact, and not to mention keeps the ants out. So I always hate that when one day you're fine, and the next day you see a whole trail of an army of ants coming through. And so less pests to deal with. The third principle is the thermal bridge. So a thermal bridge, like in the presentation, is showing another location where heat can be lost. So in this case, it could be maybe nails and framing, like where a balcony is. Maybe the framing's connected to the floor on the balcony, and that junction point where the decking meets the exterior construction is a potential thermal bridge, even like with metal studs. So we want to be aware of what materials we're using and the possibilities for thermal bridges. So in a passive house, like in that first slide, if you remember the outline of the section of the house, the air tightness, the insulation, and the thermal bridge is like a continuous envelope, including your roof, walls, and foundation. So, and anytime you have a discrepancy of um, the thermal properties, there's a potential for moisture to build up, and which causes mold, and that mold affects your air quality of your home and could lead to potential I mean, sickness or sick. You might have heard the term of a sick building. Um, okay, and the next fourth out of the fifth principle is high performance windows. So again, you want to keep that continuous envelope around your building or home, and you also need windows. So for the light, there's a minimum code requirement that you need at least 8% of the room's area for light to come in. But I love like more light, the better. But and any window is a possible chance for heat to escape, but with the or hot air to even come in. So with a high performance window, we're selecting windows that have properties that are appropriate to your specific location based on the patterns of the sun. And if you have a new house that you're building, it's very easy to, maybe you have more windows on a side that gets, more or less sun depending on your climate area. It's easy to customize. Maybe if you have an existing home that you're remodeling, we could add shading devices if a window's in an area that gets too much sun. So I think it's a balance between the architecture and also the performance of the glazing. Luckily here in the San Francisco Bay Area or in California, we're able to get away with maybe a double pane window or even single pane window. So, yeah, there's a lot of options we have. And the last principle is the lungs of the building. So this is a picture of I believe, this is a heat recovery ventilator. Oh no, or an ERV, energy recovery ventilator. And what this does is it takes in the interior air and the exterior air, conditions it, as in like filters it out, and then sets it to the temperature that you have set. So generally the design goal is to have an interior air temperature of around 68 degrees consistently all year round. And maybe the hottest it would get would be like 74 degrees on the interior. So this allows you to have, because you have an airtight envelope, this allows you to keep the air fresh. So you have a constant flow of fresh air. And this will also help with balance the humidity. So if you've maybe noticed in the winter, the air gets very dry as the temperatures go down, and that can lead to dry skin, which I have problems with, eczema, and even in the wintertime, my nose gets very dry and like, and maybe this is TMI, but it's kind of painful when your nose, my face ducts are all dry. So what the humidity levels do is it allows at least a 40% level of moisture in your air to prevent the dryness. So that, that helps with your overall indoor environment and the quality of the air you're breathing. So that's pretty much it. What I really like about the Passive House model, it's been around for, over 30 years. It's nothing new. It's just a better way to build buildings. And there's a bunch of, environmental impacts that I didn't even get into. And because of the air tightness and the HRV mechanical systems you would use, it creates a more resilient house. So you would, once you have that, you can get your house passive house certified and take that to the insurance company and get insured for fires, So we're coming up on, I guess it's fire season now, and I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago, those days when the sky was just like orange and red from all the fires, and you just smell the smoke on everything. Where if you were to have a passive house, that air, you would create a smoke, almost like a smoke barrier or a barrier from that polluted air to come into your home. Um, so that's one, the indoor air quality is a huge, huge impact, and especially for other building, off-gassing of materials that we're not even aware of that cause cancer, or we are aware of. You see those signs that say like, oh, just so you know, you could get cancer from this building. Like, there's a better way. So, um, yeah, and so I've been looking into, because I'm interested in this type of construction for my own home, that I've looked into different programs that are available through like California Energy Smart Homes program. There's energy efficiency mortgages that are FHA insured that you can get to help you pay for these or invest in these upgrades to your home, and also rebates. So I think for new construction, you can get up to like 10,000 on rebates for creating an all-electric home that is energy efficient. And then even $1,000 bonus for a passive house. So I hope that this inspires you to, I mean, I guess look into it more and think about how, if you're already planning to remodel your kitchen or add that in-law suite, or you might as well do it in the best way that protects your family from future um helps also. It's not that much more to invest in a more reliable way of constructing that ensures your family's health and comfort. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. I know every project is very unique. Everyone has their own unique I guess needs and priorities. So please feel free to call me. Sometimes text is better, but you can also send me an email as well. All right. Well, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I'll